open that box, you remain opening all the boxes. Like the first time you're like, okay, what's going on here? Like, okay, so are we going to take things to the next step? Okay, so then all of a sudden I'll be the one going on my knee to propose to myself.
It's so annoying.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Lids and Daz. My name is Lydia.
I am Dara.
And today we have a very special guest that we picked up off the street. Who happens to be my brother. His name is...
Guys,
What?
your siblings? Sorry, I'm just checking.
You know what I mean? You know, we usually don't tell people.
No, because I just see it now that you've said it. Mad.
Do you see
Sorry.
it?
It's
our smile.
Why are you
Hold on.
offended?
Oh yeah, what's your name?
I'm Raymond.
Hi, Raymond.
For those who
Nice to meet you. So, because he's our guest today, he'll be picking out our topic from the Blessed Decision Decider Bowl.
Oof, this is
Decided not your sin again.
It's hard, actually.
Are you ready?
yeah. Oof, it's an honor. Merci.
This guy's so dramatic.
Oh, you better pick right. Careful.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. That was really loud. Okay, go. Oh!
Opposite sex friendship / boundaries.
What
Okay.
a topic.
Okay. Sounds like a bit of you. Sorry guys, we've got a bit of the giggles today. But yes, so opposite sex friendships and boundaries. So I guess we're talking about that in a sense of like why it's important to have boundaries. I think an important question actually, this is a little bit controversial. Some people actually don't think it's even necessary to have friendships with the opposite sex at all. Do you think there are benefits, or do you what's your view first? Do you think you should have friends of the opposite sex? Secondly, are there benefits? Raymond?
Myself. Oh, right, yeah. Yes, I would say yes. I do think you should have friends with the opposite sex, and I think there are very many benefits. You know, this are boundaries, everything like that. It could lead to, you know, I'm sure most people or a lot of people desire to be married one day, and that means you're going to be interacting every single day for the rest of your life with somebody of the opposite sex. And if you just decide not to do it, like complete cut off, and then one day you just get married, marriage in itself is already a bit of a learning curve, but it just makes the learning curve way more, you know, do you get what I mean? Like, you've never even had friendship with someone of the opposite sex, and now you're married to somebody of the opposite sex.
That's very true.
So, yeah, no, and I think just because men and women are very different, there's benefits. Like, there are things that, you know, having a friend that's of the opposite sex could actually like provide that just having friends of the same sex would not.
And this is not like a mandatory question, but I thought I'd just chuck that in there. But, you know, you have me and we have a sister as well. And then Dara, you also have a brother. Do you think that... Hi. Do you think that, like, okay, having siblings means you don't need to have friends of the opposite sex? Like,
No.
because it's like, I interact with you guys.
It is not enough. It's very different. I think it teaches you how to relate with people. I was going to say relationally, God help me. It teaches you how to relate with people, because I remember there was a school in my town that is an all-girls school. And I remember they just didn't know how to interact with guys. And so if a guy speaks to them, they're now like, oh my gosh, get me down the aisle, we're getting married. So I think it's very important because, like you were saying, men and women are very different. And there's a book, I think it's Men Are From Mars? Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Or women, anyway. They're from different
We'll put
planets.
it somewhere.
We're both on planet Earth,
Yeah.
thank you.
But it's just to say that they're very, very different.
Yeah.
So when you actually grow in friendships with people, you understand that if a guy smiles at me, he's not actually in love with me. He's just being a nice person, which is good because I think it also matures people as
Yeah.
well, especially when you're getting into the dating stage of your life.
That's true. I think that's even similar in a Christian sense, because I know
Yeah.
that a lot of the time, you know, Christian churches and youth groups and things are very female heavy. So like it's not like that it's odd, but it's very rare that you will see a lot of like really like men of God. So I think a lot of the time when a couple like walk in, you're like, my goodness,
God.
he prays. He
That's
reads the Bible.
screaming.
Like they'll be like, First John says.
No, First John saying.
You read that?
You know that?
You know that. Wow. Do you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, that's why I think it is important to see that regularly, because that's something that could
Yeah.
then make you be like, oh my goodness. Similarly with what you said about the all girls school, them being like, oh my, this could be the guy for me. He reads his Bible.
And he's 12.
God told me that I
Like, you
needed
guys are not
somebody
grown. Yeah,
that
no, for
reads the
real.
Bible. Do you know? So it's like
Yeah.
one of them ones. But yeah, any other benefits you think or areas and lanes that you want to delve down?
It's just like necessary. I don't know if I have an extensive list of benefits like for having a friends of the opposite sex, but yeah, I think understanding maybe like understanding like we've stated men and women are quite different.
Yeah.
And like like Dara said as well, it's kind of similar to what Dara said, to be honest, but like it just allows you to kind of pick the brain of a man a little bit or the brain of a
Yeah.
woman a little bit and just be like, okay, this interaction meant this X, Y, and Z. And like Dara said, it gets you to that place of maturity where you would be ready for going to the next step. So understanding is key.
1000%. And I feel like, okay, so now I'm going to go into like the boundaries area. I feel like having boundaries is definitely important in a sense of like, it's not every guy that's your best friend, or it's not every guy that, should be like, too close. How do you establish a good and healthy friendship with the opposite sex, but still ensure that like, there's no blurred lines? So what boundaries would you now put in place to ensure that I can still be benefiting from being friends with the opposite sex and not get any blurred lines?
I'm looking at Raymond.
I
don't know what to tell you.
Okay. I think the first thing I would say is move forward with facts and not assumptions. So until anything has been declared, it's nothing more than friendship. I think that is a safe rule. It's not because like Dara said, he smiled at me or we texted this much that this is anything more than friendship.
And sometimes it's not even friendship.
Sometimes people just being nice. So I think never assume you're at a stage unless it's been communicated, unless it's been clearly communicated. I think that's the number one thing when we delve into the where are we kind of vibes. Not that you're already deciding that you're planning X, Y, and Z in your head, and the other person has said absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It's not a good place to be.
That's true.
I think it's also just putting standards in place for yourself as well, because I feel like often when we think of boundaries, we think of putting boundaries on the other person. Whereas actually, when you're in relationships like this, sometimes you have to put boundaries in place for your own self.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it can be in a different situation where this person may not be feeling you, but you're feeling them. No, but in general, like you should actually just have boundaries for your own sake as well. So even if it's like, I remember like Raymond was saying a while ago, like even if it's like, I'm not going to be messaging a person of this, like a guy at a certain time. I'm not going to be calling a guy at a certain time. I'm not going to be spending like over 2 hours in one conversation with one guy. Do you understand? Even if it's like, we're going into like a text conversation and I'm smiling when I open.
Why are you like what?
Why am I smiling? Do you understand?
Look in the mirror sometimes.
Boundaries. I have to look at myself and say like, are you silly right now? So yeah, having boundaries for yourself is actually so important. I think that's actually what's going to maintain that, because what you're saying about like facts and assumptions. If you have these things in place, then it's harder to assume things, because the way that she's relating with me, she relates with absolutely everybody else. So there's nothing that's going on.
That's so true. And I feel like it's so important to establish boundaries, because I think a lot of the time people assume when you've gone into a relationship, okay, every single boy pack your load and go. Like, there's a man now, get out, But it's like, you should still be able, I think, to maintain your friendships based off the boundaries you've created. There shouldn't be a sense of which there's like now the main guy in your life and he's feeling uncomfortable. And, because it's like, what were you really doing before if now something has to change? That's why I feel like it's so important to have boundaries with the opposite sex. I feel like there's something brewing on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah, I was just saying that. Wow. I think I was just saying that boundaries is something that will benefit you in singleness, in dating, courtship, marriage, and beyond. So it's something that is going to be very relevant and very necessary in each and every stage.
Not that any of us is married here, but like, do you think when you get married, it's different to be having a lot of like, is it different now that we are singles than it would be when we're married to be having like male friends, female friends?
I think it's dependent on environment. If we're still, in that godly community where there are a lot of Christian guys, a lot of Christian girls, you find yourself interacting with them, and then of course, like, for example, we're on Limitless. Like you interact with people, you talk to them about things like outside of even on the phone, like about this and that. So I think if you're in an environment where you're around a lot of people, yeah, those interactions will still happen. And like you said as well, if you maintain those boundaries throughout, then there's no need to cut off. So yeah, I think that will still be necessary in the marriage stage.
Yeah.
I think also the way that you carry yourself would kind of make it not change that much. I mean, my parents, they're their only best friends, but that's because
That's so
they're
sweet.
quite old. I remember I was asking my dad, who's my best friend? He said, it's my wife. I don't know what you want from me. But like, I think also the way you carry yourself, people always refer to the scripture that's like, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Not he who finds a girl on the streets. Not he who finds a girl in Limitless. Like, he who finds a
However,
wife.
he who does find the girl in Limitless
Finds
does
a great
find a good
thing.
thing. Because, there are some great
Lydia!
things in Limitless.
I'm screaming.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like he who finds a wife, it's actually the way that you like carry yourself anyway. And I think that will also like be one of your boundaries, because I'm not just gonna carry myself as somebody who just engages in like 3-hour conversations with anybody. I don't know why time is really important to me. I just don't want to spend too much time speaking to someone. That's a boundary for me.
Wasting of time.
Do you understand? Time wasters.
Time
Do you understand?
It's
It's
true.
true.
Like,
It's
yeah.
true.
It's
So
so
yeah,
true.
I think the way that you carry yourself, it's not going to change that much. But after a while, you'll be like, I just don't understand why I'd be engaging in a conversation with this person when I am literally in a relationship.
Exactly. Was there something there?
No, it's just time.
I can read you.
Time
I was
wasted.
like, he's got
Yeah, you.
No, but no, that's actually true. That's very true. And I think something that is very important, especially in a relationship, is just that security both ways. So I think even knowing that you're with somebody that has those boundaries, and if you know yourself, you have boundaries, there's a security. So even when you see them interacting with like people of the other sex, he knows like, okay, he's not going to cross that boundary. She's not going to cross that boundary. I trust that. And it provides that security and makes for an even more intimate relationship.
I was going to say as well, though, as important as it is to have friends of the opposite sex, the majority of your friends should not be of the opposite
Oh
sex.
no!
So
Now I'm not just. You know the
be
ones that I'm just a
you
girl's
have
girl.
5 best friends that are boys and 1 Dara. Like, no.
Oh my god, that's not right.
Like, absolutely not, because it's like we think differently as well. So it's like the way as we thank God for English. As girls are more emotional, and the way that we tackle situations is completely different. Like, I can go to my brother and tell him a situation, he'd be like, well, pray. And then, and I'll go to my sister and
It as
she'll
well.
literally be like, what? Never. Like, so it's like finding the balance and knowing who to go to about certain things
Period.
as well.
Yeah.
Even with relationships, like, I feel like certain situations you can go to like your brother. Other situations you need to hear a woman's perspective and how they deal with these things, because like, guys really like they study the guy's side.
It's logic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logic.
Guys, I have a question for you. I was smiling before because I was just so excited to speak about it. Then you started talking. Okay. I feel like this is a better way for us to relate because we're all single.
I wanted to change the light bulb to red, like dun dun dun.
Because we're all single, so we're not actually dating. I feel like a lot of people get in this like sticky situation. Yeah, I feel like it's also part of boundaries. How do you be like to somebody? Okay, what's going on here? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, where you're like, because you're going based off of like facts or assumptions, but sometimes you have to be like, okay, what's going on here? How would you approach that?
Let our guest speaker begin.
I want a male and a female's perspective, not mine
also
though. No, because I'm the asker, not the askee. Okay,
Raymond.
Yeah, to be honest, if you're getting to that stage, I think
I'm just gonna say this is not for me, by the way. It's a generic question. Because it looks like I'm asking for advice. I just
Right,
no,
okay.
it's not advice. I'm just thinking, like, because people might be, yeah.
I think just hit the nail on the head. To be honest, I don't think there's any benefit in like dancing around it or trying to be this or that. I think just hit the nail on the head. Just like be honest with how the friendship's been, what you think, what you feel, and see what the other person's saying. And it's very possible that that if they don't feel the same way, then you need to ask yourself, how did we get here? What can we do to ensure that we're both clear, we're both on the same page? I think it's very important that both of you are on the same page. So like if you are feeling one way and you're not sure, it's best to be direct.
Yeah. I feel like from a more of a female perspective, I guess I'm speaking for myself personally, not the general congregation, but like I personally don't like to assume anything until a guy comes out and says there's nothing going on unless you say something.
So you're never going to be like, what's going on?
No. Like I would if I feel like I'm noticing, okay, you're giggling a bit too much. Like it
wasn't that
like,
funny.
It was not funny. Like what's going on here? But like it would never be in a sense of like, okay, what's going on? Like,
No.
are you wanting me to be your girlfriend? Like, no. It would more be like a thing of like, hey, is everything okay with you? Like, what's like? But I just feel like, you know, from the female stance, those questions should not be things that you like open
Have
the
to,
because when you open that box, you remain opening all the boxes. Like the first time you're like, okay, what's going on here? Like, okay, so are we gonna take things to the next step? Okay, so then all of a sudden I'll be the one going on my knee to propose to myself.
So annoying.
Like no, like you know. But that's just my stance, and I feel like, you know, some people might think it's a bit severe, but I just feel like, yeah, no. If a guy wants to make his intentions clear with me, that's fine. If you know, personally, I don't really tend to try to talk to guys too much, but I feel like if we then are talking a bit more, I'll just see you as a really good friend until
this guy is just unnaturally lovely. You know, what a friend.
You're great.
So I've got a question for you actually, based off of that.
Oh no.
No, but like, let's say you develop feelings for the guy,
Yeah.
and it's like they're getting stronger, and like you're still relating really closely for a while. Like this isn't a case of someone's just like messaging you a lot, and it's like, okay, we're really good friends. You have feelings for the guy. This is something you'd really like. Do you feel, and there's like nothing's happening? Do you think that you would? Do you think that there's no way?
Step back. Absolutely not. First of all, why are the feelings there? Yeah, I need to look at myself in the mirror and say, what's
wrong with you?
What are you doing? No, but it's like, I feel like you shouldn't even get yourself to that point. But like, if I got to that point, I would probably take a step back and stop like speaking to the person as much. And if now it's something he reciprocates, he would probably be like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, why have you stopped kind of reaching out? Like, you know, I feel like if that is something a guy would want, he would probably now, I don't know, pursue more. Like
I feel like
yeah,
I could speak about it more because I'm the more emotional one out of Liz and Daz.
Like, I would
Daz is the crier, Daz is the feeler. Okay,
you know, I would have to catch feelings to talk about what
that's
that
what I'm
feels
saying.
like.
Because we like when you catch feelings, I said, does Lydia do that? I said, are you sure?
I was like, hypothetically.
I'm screaming. But yeah, no, it's actually what you're saying. It's about withdrawing. There's a time that literally, because I said, like, you know, when you like open a message and you smile, I had to like stop. And then I literally went to go to God. I had to pray. I said, God, I can't live life like this.
Oh wow.
So it's definitely, that's why I say boundaries are so important for yourself.
Oh my God. No, you need to think about how you look, because imagine that, like, you're like
Oh guys, I'm not creepy and I don't catch feelings a lot, but when I do though, my God. So I think it's very important. That's what I'm saying. Boundaries are very important for yourself. You're not always just setting up a wall for the other person. Sometimes you're blocking yourself inside the wall, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, take a step back.
Exactly. The boundaries are not just to protect you, the other person, it's also to protect you.
Yeah.
So it's not just so that you pass out the wrong message, it's so you know what's up.
Exactly.
So you have to tell yourself,
what's up?
This is a friendship and this is how I'm going to act within this friendship until... I think it's very different for girls and guys. That's why I think, you know, it's important that the majority of the people you surround yourself with are not the opposite sex, because if I'm around guys all the time, they'll be like, nah, just speak to him. Just let him know.
Why have you got all English friends? Nah, just speak to him. Like,
this is actually my cry for more English friends. Because I'm sure that accent was not correct. But yeah, no. I think we are getting on roundup time. So, last points.
Sorry. Sorry. I was sorry.
I thought, is this guy being spoken to by God?
No, sorry. That's the thing is, just at all points, just being very honest with yourself, being very honest with other people. And I mean, maybe because I'm a guy, I have a different perspective on, you know, the whole, like, if a lady gets to that point. But I think...
Oh, yeah, what would you do if you caught feelings now?
Raymond?
Yeah.
If me...
Yeah, that's your own question. Answer that before you step out. Wow.
I had a conversation with God about this, actually. So yeah, kind of similar to what you said. Because I was like, do you understand? Yeah, do you guys want to actually this?
You want to know what do you want to know?
Yeah, no, it's just like, well, of course, if for me, if I'm gonna think about entering a relationship, it's to do with marriage, and it's like Christ pursued his bride, so I'd have to do the same in it.
That's amazing. I feel like we'll probably need to have another like episode somewhere along the lines of like these types of things, because it's like there's so much deeper and so much areas you could tap into. But yeah, Dara, do you have a last point before we
I think I've said my point over and over again.
say it again?
Don't be a fool. That's my point. Boundaries are very important. Stop laughing. Boundaries are very important. That's my point.
Okay, so let me put you on.
Can you? Is there space above his head for let me put you on?
Did he chuck the thingy back? Actually,
Oh, sad. No, he didn't.
So you need
Raymond,
to chuck
you're
that
ruining
before.
traditions.
He put it on.
They said in the Bible, don't forget the traditions of your forefathers.
Yeah, so he will
Where'd it go?
not be
I
coming
threw
back.
it for you. God.
Okay.
What's wrong with this guy?
He's not coming back. Sorry.
Please.
Embarrassing.
What are you putting us on to?
This week, I'm putting us on to, you probably know it already, but I'm just going to say anyway, I Want to Know You by William McDowell. It's one of his very old songs, and I think it's just so key about, you know, getting to know God's heart. It's a very short song, but it's just beautiful. The harmonies are lovely. Yeah, so thank you guys for joining us this week.
Thank you.
Once again, I've been Lydia.
I've been Dara.
I've been Raymond.
And you've not been following the rules. I'm joking. We'll see you again next week. It was lovely to have you here. God bless. Oh, I kind of want Raymond to stage.